Okay, I've tried this once, and it didn't work, and I got aggravated. So I'm going to try this again. And in Jesus' name, I'm going to be able to do it this time. It will work. Go with me to Daniel chapter 7. It states in Daniel chapter 7 verse 2, Daniel said, "In my vision at night I looked, and there before me were the four winds of heaven, churning up the great sea. Four great beasts, each different from the others, came up out of the sea. The first was like a lion, and it had the wings of an eagle. I watched until its wings were torn off, and it was lifted from the ground, so that it stood on 2 feet like a man. And the heart of a man was given to it. And there before me was a second beast, which looked like a bear. It was raised up on one of its sides, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth, in its mouth between its teeth. It was told, 'Get up, and eat your fill of flesh.' After that I looked, and there before me was another beast, one that looked like a leopard, and on its back it had 4 wings like those of a bird. This beast had 4 heads, and it was given authority to rule. You skip from chapter 7, verses 2 through 6, and you go to chapter 7, verses 15 through 17. And it says, I, Daniel, was troubled in spirit, and the visions that passed through my mind disturbed me. I approached one of those standing there and asked him the true meaning of all this. So he told me and gave me the interpretation of these things. The 4 great beasts are 4 kingdoms that will rise from the earth. Now remember, that was only 3 of the beasts. Okay. I will tell you what what nations or kingdoms those first 3 beasts are. The first one is a lion with wings of an eagle. The lion is Great Britain because Great Britain uses a lion to symbolize their nation. The wings of the eagle that were plucked or pulled out of the lion, Great Britain, that turns into an eagle, is the United States. The third beast is like a bear. It is Russia. Russia uses a bear to symbolize their nation. The leopard is Germany because Germany uses a leopard tank to symbolize their nation. Now, knowing that, let's go to Revelations chapter 12 and chapter 13. We will start out in chapter 13 where John sees a beast come out of the great sea. Chapter 13 states in verse 1, And the dragon, or the devil, stood on the shore of the sea. The beast out of the sea is what the next few verses are entitled in my version of the Bible here. In my translation. And it says, And I saw a beast coming out of the sea. He had 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 crowns on his horns, and each head had a blasphemous name on it. The beast I saw resembled a leopard, but had the feet of a bear and a mouth like that of a lion. The dragon gave the beast his power and his throne and great authority. So, there is 3 beasts right there. The first 3 beasts, all except for the eagle. So where's the eagle at? Okay. I've been asking God, personally, where's the eagle? Where is the United States going to be in the end times? What is our purpose? Are we obliterated? Are we gone? Or what are we, what happened? Well, if we go back to chapter 12, it says, a great and wondrous sign appeared in heaven, starting at verse 1 of Revelation chapter 12. A great and wondrous sign appeared in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven. An enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on his head. His tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so that he might devour her child the moment it was born. She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter, and her child was snatched up to God and to his throne. The woman fled into the desert to a place prepared for her by God, where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days, 3.5 years. Okay? And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back, but he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, the ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God, and the authority of his Christ. For the accuser of our brothers who accuses them before God day and night has been hurled down. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury, because he knows that his time is short. When the dragon saw that he had been hurled to the earth, he pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child. The woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, so that she might fly to the place prepared for her in the desert, where she would be taken care of for a time, times, and half a time, out of the serpent's reach. A time is a year, times is 2 years, and half a time is half a year. So 3.5 years. Then from his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river, to overtake the woman and sweep her away with the torrent. But the earth helped the woman by opening its mouth and swallowing the river that the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. Then the dragon was enraged at the woman and went off to wage war against the rest of her offspring, those who obey God's commands and hold to the testimony of Jesus.